shadow boxing.
Oh man,
Special technique of shadow.
oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man,
Good morning and welcome everybody. You are watching The Fierce Urgency of Now on WIDU. This is Councilmember Shaun McMillan. And I appreciate everybody joining us this morning for The Fierce Urgency of Now. We have an exciting show. Got a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on in the city. There's a lot going on nationally. I want to make sure everybody that's tuned in knows that this is an open invitation for you to tune in and also to call in. The number for WIDU is 910-483-6111. We're going to open up in the second half of the show for calls. Really want to hear from you. What are your questions? What are your concerns? What's on your heart this morning? What would you like to talk about? And what can we create together as a community? Looking forward to the engagement that will come, and also just want to show appreciation for this time. I was honored earlier this year to receive communications from Wes Cookman to actually have a regular slot on WIDU. I've been coming here for probably close to 10 years now, off and on. As an organizer, actually, when Raymond Johnson and Chris Davis used to have their show, most of it was focused on community issues, on veterans issues. And some of my earliest opportunities to speak about what was on my heart, about some of the vision that I had for Fayetteville and for this community was in this building and at the invitation of the Cookmans. And really want to start off just by honoring the life of Sandy Cookman. There are still in Fayetteville very few places where a community is built in the way that is built through this station, through her work and her vision. There's a lot of us that hold values, and oftentimes it's hard to find where those values come together, where our commonalities are. In this world, we're increasingly fractured, increasingly isolated. And I know through Sandy's work, through the work of the Cookmans and through the work of everyone who's touched this radio station and this audience, we have found community, and we continue to build community. And I understand that our opportunities to continue to do so will honor her life going forward. So definitely wanted to start with a note of condolences to the Cookman family and to everyone whose life was touched by Sandy Cookman, and appreciative of all the tributes that I've seen, all the wonderful stories that we've seen come out about how special a person Ms. Cookman was, Mrs. Cookman. So definitely wanted to start off just with the grounding and a recognition that comes in thanks and in honor to the life of Sandy Cookman. This show we're going to talk about a lot. I'm going to start nationally with some things that are on my heart, and definitely want to hear from you what your thoughts are. I know that many of us get caught up on a lot of what's going on locally. I know there's a tendency to stay silent about what's going on in the national arena. I'm gonna buck that a little bit this morning and talk about something that's impacting us all that we should be loud about, should be pushing against, and that I hope in affirmation of our shared values we come together to have a unified front on. Then I really want to get into, especially a little bit later in the show, some of the things that are going on in City Council. Namely, what I see as a push for AI data centers here in Fayetteville. It is an issue that has sparked a lot of concern, and I think deservedly so. It's an issue that I think at this point we have an opportunity to get out ahead of, that we have an opportunity to regulate, and an opportunity to protect community from. So I really want to talk about AI data centers, where it stands at the city council, some opportunities that I think the community is going to have to chime in on what we deserve. And then I'll give a couple of other updates towards the end of the show about some other things that are going on in the city council. As I teased, we're going to start off just by talking about what I think often and locally is the elephant in the room. It is right now the war that we're in against Iran, in partnership or in collaboration with the nation of Israel. This is something that's very near and dear to me because I spent most of my adult life in service to this country as a soldier, as a veteran. And if I rewind my personal clock back to 2003, I watched as we bombed Iraq in what was called a preemptive strike. We called it shock and awe. I think there was a widespread support for invasion of Iraq under the pretense that there were weapons of mass destruction. And I had no clue back in 2003 that close to 20 years of warfare would follow. I had no clue that I would lose friends, fellow service members in that conflict. I had no clue in 2003 how far off our assessment of weapons of mass destruction was, and how blatantly false some of those claims were on their face. And I also had no clue of the carnage that would follow. Estimates of more than 1 million people who died in that conflict, either as a result of direct combat or all of the things that come along with that, with starvation, with disease. And one of the things that I'm noticing right now is we are in a similar situation in this war with Iran. We have an intelligence community that has told us there was not an imminent threat. We have a president who took much more authority than Article 1 of the Constitution has granted him to attack this nation. We already have dead service members who have already died in a conflict that many believe was unjust and unnecessary. It is very clearly a war of choice that our nation is being dragged into. And my concerns, as well as the concerns of some of my friends and fellow community members, is that we will be entrenched before we know it in a long engagement that looks like the forever wars of our past. Many of us are concerned that we are taking this nation into a dangerous territory where the laws that have been set out internationally, and even the laws that we have around war actions here in the United States, are completely disregarded. And the people that pay the ultimate price are our service members, and also the people who are on the other end of those bombs, people who live in places like Iran, places like Palestine, places like Lebanon, whose lives are valuable, and who should be a part of this conversation, our considerations. And I bring this all up because I know that I'm a council member here, but we are the largest neighbor to the largest military installation in the world. And when I was a soldier in 2003, I felt like I didn't have a voice. I knew that preemptive war on its face was wrong. I ended up serving for many years. I think if I total up all of my my Afghanistan time, it's close to 2 years I was in combat zones. And I saw the war, I saw the death and the carnage. And I don't think that's necessary right now. I think we, as a country, are making connections between what's going on and a sense of that we are following an imperial past, acting as colonizers and imperialists rather than as a nation that's really protecting its own. And I push back against the myth that preemptive war is keeping us safe. I think it's making things more dangerous here. So I just wanted to take some time and speak up for my service members who may feel like they don't have a voice, who may feel like we're being led into a conflict that will force them, that will attempt to force them to follow unlawful orders in an unjust war. And say that as a community, we got your back. As a community, we will continue to speak out in ways that you can't. I also want to encourage everyone who is listening, everyone who feels similar to the way that I do about this conflict, to get in touch with your Congress members. There is a Constitution that we should be abiding by that really puts the path to funding wars and even to approving wars through a Congress. And that is a representative body that is being asked to send $200 billion more dollars to this war effort. And we have an opportunity, I think now, between now and April, to let our Congress members know that we're not okay with $200 billion more going to this war, to this unjust war. And I hope that if we've had a trend of too many of us staying silent, if we've had a trend of allowing authoritarianism and fascism to rule the day, that this is a wake-up call for us, that this is something that causes us to connect with our moral compass in ways that protect life, in ways that protect our neighbors here in Fayetteville and adjacent to Fort Bragg, and in ways that affirm who we are as a community. So I appreciate the opportunity to say that. That's something that's on my heart, something I think about every day, something I don't want to stay silent on. And this is it's contentious. I can tell y'all I've had some tough conversations already with neighbors, some of whom say you should just stay in your lane. I hear you should just play basketball. That's what I hear. I don't know if y'all remember back in 2020 when NBA players were saying, Black Lives Matter, and we're saying that maybe we should relook community safety and have some level of accountability when there's police violence. And a common refrain from opponents to free speech was to just play basketball. Just focus on your lane. And I think that hurts us when we don't speak out against what's wrong, when we think that we're relegated to just talk about what we're told is our lane. So I'm stepping out in protection of neighbors. I'm not going to just play basketball, but while I do care and will continue to focus on community issues, I think that protection of our veterans especially and our active duty service members is absolutely all of our lanes. So I appreciate that time to say that. I want to segue into something else that I think calls us to really tap into where our values are as a community. It is a fight, I think, that is brewing over AI data centers. And this has been brewing for a while. I think I really applaud Mr. Myron Pitts, who wrote a column late last year about AI data centers. And it was an opinion column that ran in the Fayetteville Observer. And I think that was one of the first times when I started to pay attention to the fact that this was coming to Fayetteville. In the story, he talked about a company called ESS that had put all these plans on the internet about moving to Fayetteville and having this huge, what they call superscalar data center. Soon thereafter, or somewhere around that time, a young man named Rashad Rahman started a petition. The last I checked had about 1,500 people sign on. And the petition that Mr. Rahman put forward was really in caution. He laid out a great case as to why we should be cautious about data centers. He talked about things like depletion to our water table and possible even contamination of our water sources. Because these huge superscalar data centers also need cooling capacity, and they depend on water to do that. He talked about that risk. He also talked about what has happened in Northern Virginia and all over the country when these types of facilities have been invited in. It's usually a short-term boost in construction jobs, a short-term boost and an overinflation of the economic benefits. And then what soon thereafter happens is once the construction jobs leave, it really only funds dozens, not thousands of jobs. So it takes up more space than it should to fund what ends up being dozens of jobs. And in a place like Fayetteville, often those jobs aren't even locally assigned. A lot of times people from out of town come in and take those types of jobs. And then another thing Mr. Rahman pointed out is that in other places in the country where these facilities have been invited in, their energy costs have spiked. So these superscalers also impact a resource that we're already having issues with. We're already pushing back against these rate hikes from Duke Energy and PwC that are really making an affordability crisis even more dangerous to especially the people who are on fixed incomes. So I paid attention when that came forward, when that petition went out, and I signed it. I think I even shared it with friends and on social media. And since then, the city of Fayetteville, we've seen some movement, some indication that there are data centers that are coming. And one of those indications was a move by the FCEDC to really try to publicly educate people on data centers. I attended a session back in February where Robert Van Gils and his staff, I think, did a great thing in bringing this issue to the public and saying that this is something we know that you're hearing about. This is something we want to give you information about. There was notably a lot of community concern that the person that briefed was a Duke executive, or former Duke executive, since that although a lot of general information was given, there wasn't really an emphasis on some of the harms that a data center could bring. So fast forward, we now find ourselves in an opportunity to possibly regulate and make some good decisions, sound decisions that protect community around data centers. On the other side of this break, I'm going to talk about where we are as a city in possible regulation and pushback against AI data centers and some of the harm they might bring. And then I want to open it up a little later for your opinions via calls. Again, the number is 910-483-6111. I want to hear from you on the other side of this break about data centers. I want to continue this conversation. Again, this is the fierce urgency of now. I'm Shaun McMillan. Thank you for joining us. I'll see y'all on the other side of the break.
Oh man. Oh man. Oh man.
Stocks moved higher, but questions remain about what's really driving the rally. Some analysts say it's a short-term bounce tied to easing tensions with Iran. Former North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper was in Greenville Monday as part of his tour of the state. Cooper told WNCT rising costs for goods are negatively impacting working-class Americans, including farmers in North Carolina. North Carolina Senator Tom Tillis told ABC News this week that his attitude has changed since announcing he isn't running for re-election, and now he just wants to make sure Republicans get elected. RDU fire rescue operations responded to a returning passenger flight last night. Raleigh-Durham International Airport, American Eagle Flight 5201. No one was injured in the incident. Small earthquake hit western North Carolina last night. It was near the Jackson-Macon County line. Mike Traley, NCN News.
I'm Jamie Monticelli, WIDU Radio News. The Cumberland County Sheriff's Office is alerting the public to a recent scam and robbery scheme occurring through Facebook Marketplace in the Everett Acres subdivision off Lake Upchurch Drive in Parkton. Detectives have gotten reports of an individual advertising air conditioning units for sale at discounted prices. When buyers arrange to meet and arrive at the location, they are directed to the rear of the residence. Once there, the suspect approaches the victim armed with a firearm and demands payment. Victims are forced to either surrender cash or transfer money via a Cash App account. Reported losses from those incidents have ranged from $900 to $6,000. Join the community for another youth night out. The Proof Project is teaming up with the Office of Community Safety and other organizations for a youth night out April 10th, 7 p.m. until 10 p.m. This is at Roundabout Skating Rink. Youth ages 13 to 18 are invited. From WIDU Radio,
Tuesday morning starting out much colder thanks to that cold front that passed through yesterday. We'll need a jacket out the door this morning, and heading into the afternoon, it'll be cooler than average as well. It's a partly to mostly cloudy sky, highs in the mid to upper 50s. Partly cloudy and jacket weather again heading into Wednesday morning. Our lows in the mid to upper 30s with a little improvement in afternoon temperatures. Partly cloudy Wednesday, highs in the mid 60s. I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels in the NCN Weather Center.
Join us for the Apostle James A. McDonald Kentucky Derby Banquet happening Saturday, April 4th at 3 p.m. sharp at Faith Covenant Fellowship Worship Center, 742 East Russell Street in Fayetteville. Hosted by Apostle Roger Jenneret, featuring guest speaker Bishop T.J. Bethia, and special music by national recording artist Lemuel Boykin and Company and evangelist Pamela Jackson Jenneret. Tickets are just $50. This event is proudly sponsored by Wiseman Mortuary, 431 Cumberland Street in Fayetteville, serving families with dignity and care. Call 910-22-5854 for details. Don't miss the Kentucky Derby Banquet.
This is Wayne Smalls, president of L. Wayne Smalls and Associates, LLC, and you are listening to Wake Up.
This is Sarah Alford, and I am the pastor of Joy Fellowship Outreach Ministry located at 18336 Highway 87 West, Tar Heel, North Carolina. And I am excited to be a part of Wake Up.
You ever notice how most helpful information always seems to show up just a little too late? Like, oh, the deadline was yesterday. Or,
you know, you could have saved money if you've done that earlier.
Timing matters. That's why Fayetteville PWC wants you to know the summertime of use schedule begins April 1st. With smart timing, you can lower your energy costs by running appliances like washers, dryers, and dishwashers outside of peak hours. And by adjusting your thermostat just a few degrees higher between 3 and 6 in the afternoon, you can save even more. It's a simple shift that helps reduce strain on the energy grid, supports a more sustainable future, and keeps power reliable for everyone in our community. Because at Fayetteville PWC, we're committed to being environmentally responsible, dependable, and deeply invested in the place we all call home. Timing matters, and smart timing means savings. Learn more at startsaving at faypwc.com.
Special technique. Special technique of shadow boxing.
Oh man,
Special technique of shadow.
oh man,
Shadow
oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man,
shadow boxing.
All right, good morning. Thank you for tuning back in to the First Urgency of Now. This is Shaun McMillan. And on the other side of the break, we started off talking about data centers, how this is something that could potentially harm the community. And it is an issue that has been brewing in Fayetteville since at least late last year. Where we left off was talking about where it sits in City Council and some actions that could be taken in the very near future. Before we hop back into data centers and that discussion, I want to say again the number to call in. It's 910-483-6111. Again, that's 910-483-6111. I want to hear from you what your thoughts are about data centers or anything else in the community that you're concerned about or that's on your mind. And I left off just with a very general background about how this conversation on data centers has been brewing. We'll say that after the public conversation that was led by the FCEDC, there was still a lot of ongoing conversation in the organizing community, especially about what we could do in our community. If we know that these things are harmful, we know that they could harm our environment, make our energy more expensive. We know that they can harm an already threatened water source. Think about this. We just stood in unison. I think just about the whole county and city and surrounding cities stood up in protection of the Cape Fear River Basin just 2 months ago in a public hearing that was designed to stop Fuquay-Varina's attempt to tap into our precious and limited water resources. So now, just months later, we're already talking about what we can do to protect our water against data centers. And following that public FCEDC segment, that educational segment, there was some conversations. I know that I sent out some information to my city council colleagues about something called a moratorium that we're seeing in many other communities in North Carolina. What is noted is that there were a lot of communities, not just in North Carolina, but across the state. And now there's even states that are saying, instead of welcoming these AI data centers in without any type of rules, without any type of regulations, what we're going to do is make sure that our policy matches this development in technology that is a potential threat. And many communities put forward this idea of a moratorium. So what they said is what we need to do is just put this on ice while we come up with sound policy. In the move for a moratorium, many communities have said we will continue to learn about data centers. We'll continue to understand their impact, especially their environmental impact on communities. And a moratorium is a freeze on accepting any bids or offers or doing any rezoning in order to accommodate these data centers. And one of the reasons I'm liking this idea of moratoriums is because I feel like we're moving pretty fast on this. One of the things I learned when we started asking these questions about data center is that the city's planning commission had already started moving on a definition of data centers. Some of my people also made me aware that since last year, our mayor even has been pushing data centers as something that's positive for the city. And while I understand looking through a lens of prosperity, looking and seeing the $1 billion that are attached to this project, I couldn't in good conscience move forward on a fast pace or on a fast track in voting for regulation that doesn't also underscore the harms and doesn't underscore that we as a community are not going to allow these facilities in without laying out standards, without understanding what they mean to us, and without very carefully defining what this new class of industry could bring to communities. And there's also something I learned about that's a movement against abatement and a movement for community benefit. So what a lot of communities are also doing is they're setting some firm lines against, in any way, padding the pockets of these AI data centers. These are billionaires who are looking for rural areas, oftentimes where they're oftentimes looking for communities where they won't get any pushback. And on top of that, sometimes they're also taking advantage of abatements, of tax advantages, of moving to places like North Carolina. And these communities, during that moratorium year, or during that span of time where they're putting a freeze on accepting bids, they are also looking to put in, they're looking to get rid of any movement towards abatement. They're getting to get rid of any tax advantages that are extra and really at the expense of the community that they're moving into. And then they're also looking to have community benefits plans. Community benefits plans is not a new concept. It's something that says if a corporation, a billion-dollar corporation is coming to our community, we need to make sure that they're being corporate citizens, sound corporate citizens, and they're giving back to the community. So instead of an abatement that comes at the expense of the taxpayer, really should be this billion-dollar industry pouring back into the community in ways that are fruitful and that build us up. There hasn't been any outside of that planning zone or that zoning planning commission move to regulate this. There really has not been a lot of information forthcoming from our staff at the city on data centers and what it would look like to regulate them. During the last work session, I did move on a proposal to push this into staff, to have staff come back with a set of recommendations that ranged from moratoriums to environmental impact studies, to just a firm assessment of how we can set in place things that protect the community. I did this during a work session. Unfortunately, did not get a second, did not get not one colleague to step forward on the city council and make sure that this is something we got a very well-rounded and comprehensive input on from the staff. So that didn't move forward in that work session. That was unfortunate. What the pushback was mostly from Mayor Colvin, who said the Planning Commission has got this, basically. What I said in answer to that is, while the Planning Commission can make recommendations, it is the City Council's responsibility, all of us who are elected officials, to do our job and lead on issues, especially when it comes to protection of the community. My concern is what's not being said is really important here. When I hear leaders in the city who push for the advantages of a data center, and then also push for silence from the staff in terms of a comprehensive set of options. And when I don't see us leading strongly on protection, it gives me pause. It really makes me think that we're not really doing our job to the fullest. We're not representing the citizens in a way that has that community lens in its proper context. It should be the foremost of our concerns. Since that work session, there has been discussion on council about this coming back in the April work session. So it'll be the first Monday in April. The work session will start at 3. I invite everybody in the community to be there to listen to what the staff has to say. Also want to invite everybody to stay afterwards. The work session starts at 3. At 6:15 p.m. we'll go into awards and recognitions, and we'll go into public comments. And that'll be an opportunity for community to talk about what harms the data centers could bring to us, and to give your own recommendations. There might be some really pro-business, pro-corporation, pro-billionaire citizens who are really pushing for this to come to Fayetteville. But I'm going to tell y'all very, very honestly, I've really heard more concerns about the harms that this will bring and more calls for caution from everyday citizens than I've heard from corporatist people who really think it's a great idea to go full speed into data center arrangements. There's also, I should note, a move by the county, an aggressive move by the county, I think, to regulate this. And haven't been read in completely to what the county has proposed. I do know that there was a public hearing last night on data centers, and it was an invitation from the county to hear from citizens. And I do hope that as the city council moves forward, that we put the citizens first, that at some point the council embraces this community lens and shows some leadership on this issue. And want to invite all my colleagues, all those who care, to move forward in unison on protection of the community and to consideration of a moratorium on AI data centers. So that's an update on where we stand on that set of policies. I think that data centers are something we're going to hear about for many years. I think there are always going to be billion-dollar corporations who see Fayetteville, especially when they look at our history of being appeasing to especially to development, who see this as a prime target. I think we have to stand up as a community. And I don't think that you're going to see this council, as currently constructed, do that without hearing from citizens. I think this is really one of those cases where you need to reach out to your city council member and tell them how important this is, an issue this is to you, and awaken their moral conscience on this issue. So that is data centers. Last night's council meeting went pretty long. We went till a little after 10 last night, starting at the regular time, which I was glad we actually started on time. It didn't have closed-door meetings that delayed us. Last night there were quite a few important things that came out of the meeting. I want to highlight the OCS, Office of Community Safety. We spent some time earlier this week in D.C. Last week in D.C. And some of the issues we heard repeatedly were on the housing crisis and this mobilization that there has been to have funding that enhances people's ability to find affordable housing. And another thing that I heard a lot about was support to mental health of our communities. The OCS is unique in that I think right now they're taking the lead in moving us forward on an alternative response to mental health crises. Going back to a lot of the allegations of excessive violence and the deaths of Jada Johnson, even Jason Walker's death, Adrian Roberts. There's a list of people who have died seemingly undergoing a mental health crisis. And there was always conversation, even during those tragedies, about how we can better respond to people who are in need. Respond with mental health professionals, and then also respond with peer support specialists, people who have actually been through it, who can be on the scene to provide a non-lethal response and have a better chance of survivability and professional help to somebody that's undergoing this. I should also mention Joshua Oxendine, somebody who also died at the hands of police here locally, who was undergoing a mental health crisis. And our OCS is, I think, in a strong way taking the lead on the city's response to mental health crisis. Last night we got a great report back from Director Jones, who talked about his small team of 4 right now taking on the gargantuan task of responding to, I think, more than 200 separate incidents in the last quarter of citizens who are in need. Oftentimes a mental health crisis, but oftentimes just on issues that would have them placed deeper into danger. He talked about response to families that are on the brink of homelessness, and talked about the 4 pillars of the OCS that right now are really developing into something that I think looks like sound and responsible policy. How there is a community violence interrupter function to the OCS, how there is a youth empowerment and a function of the OCS to pour into youth mentorship and having a range of activities and fruitful exercises for youth to be involved in so that they can flourish in our communities. Mental health crisis I bring up because in our time in DC, I think that was one of the things that almost all communities are grappling with at this time. And going back to what we started with in this segment, talking about the war that is upon us, the veterans who are really suffering as a result of PTSD and so many other ailments, and really having the tools as a community that serves that veteran population and serves everybody who is undergoing something that is troubling, that could mean the difference between disaster or being on the right path. And I just want to applaud the OCS in its work, its continued work, and then ask anybody that hasn't looked into ways that we can feed into and support the OCS to check out the website, the city website, and understand their move for things like safe spaces for youth. Their continuous push to pull in nonprofits and be a bridge to a number of organizations, and to relook the way the city of Fayetteville approaches community safety. So that was something exciting that we actually got to talk about last night. Also want to give some space to Phase 5 expansion. That was another thing that was on the table last night. There was a presentation by PwC, and it laid out the upcoming phases, talked about the next 11 years of continuing to build out Phase 5 expansion. For anybody that's not tracking, that was a move that started about 20 years ago here in Fayetteville to expand PwC's reach and services out to mostly the western part of Fayetteville, the part where District 8 is and where I and many of my neighbors live in. And it was a push to move us from septic systems and older infrastructure to tap into the newer infrastructure of PwC. And this has caused a lot of consternation for my neighbors in western Fayetteville. There were many who feel like they got a garbage can 20 years ago and were asked to pay city taxes and then did not get a return on their investment for 20 years while this infrastructure has very slowly moved in. There's also a lot of consternation because there are fees that come with this hook into to PwC. And it's a financial strain for a lot of people to pay $5,000 to tap into an existing system. Many of those people, especially in the neighborhoods on my side of Cliffdale, are living on a fixed income and don't have $5,000 laying around that allow them to do this seamlessly. Some good news that I'm hearing and that I'm thankful for, and this is something I will give props to our mayor for. Mayor Colvin has led the way for the staff and the city to open up conversations about what it looks to expand the grant program. So taking the percentage that you need to make, the percentage that you are in terms of our determination of whether you're under the poverty level, and increasing that so more people can take advantage of grant options and get some assistance in hooking up to PwC. One of the things I really appreciated last night was one of our neighbors that came up and talked about how really there could be some things that we do as a city to provide abatement, to provide relief using the general fund to offset the costs to our neighbors in the West. And there is appetite for the council on this sort of abatement that goes towards citizens, this sort of relief that does allow us to look through the community lens and allow us to pour into the people who would be struggling just to take advantage of this newer infrastructure. And that's something that I hope that we continue to develop. I appreciate my colleagues who are already on board with initiating and continuing this conversation about what we can do to provide relief to Western Fayetteville. And also, I appreciate the recognition that this PWC expansion was fought by many of our neighbors from the start. It wasn't something a lot of them asked for. And that 20 years down the line, we should be doing everything that we can to make sure that this is as seamless as possible, to make sure that this is something that doesn't cause undue strain to our people in Fayetteville and our people on the western side of Fayetteville especially. There are a number of other issues that were discussed last night. Also want to highlight that in the coming weeks we'll be having some tough decisions and some tough discussions about not only the data centers, but about proposals that were put up earlier this year to have a demonstration ordinance in Fayetteville. If you can go back and look at what transpired in January, there were some moves by the city council that I think were ill-advised to focus on demonstrations downtown in a way I think that targeted one group in particular in a way that was unconstitutional, but also in a way that could endanger everyone's ability to exercise the right to free speech. Along with that, there were also some moves that the council made to, I think, limit the opportunities for people to have for public forum and opportunity to express their ideas publicly in city council meetings. This manifested in the change that you see with us segregating, in effect, the portion of the city council members where people do come and speak their mind. That is the public forum. We completely separated that from regular council proceedings. And when you pair that with the demonstration ordinance, when you pair that with what I think was an unlawful enforcement, targeted enforcement of the noise ordinance, it really paints a picture that Fayetteville is not doing everything we can to be a transparent city, that we're moving further away from transparency, and that we are moving in a way that denies and restricts people from engaging in First Amendment free speech. And I think that's dangerous on its face. I ask that everybody look at this from a comprehensive lens of all the things that have been done in the last 2 years. And I think that's also something that citizens are really going to have to push back against. I think your next opportunity to do that in a way that exercises community power is when this demonstration ordinance comes back up. I think there are plenty of things that we should be meeting on, that we could have special meetings about, that we need to tackle as a community. I think there is a move towards open government, towards making sure that people see more of what we do, especially behind closed doors and in closed sessions. And that should be where our energy is, to enhancing freedom, to opening up free speech, and not in an effort as a council to curtail that. So I ask everyone to pay attention, get involved. See us at the City Council. You're welcome to come down either the first Monday of the month for work sessions, the second or the fourth Monday of the month for City Council meetings. The work sessions start at 3. Public forum starts at 6:15. All council meetings on the second and fourth Mondays start at 6:30, and I want y'all to understand that it is the people's house. It is your opportunity to weigh in and to move us as elected officials to serve you in the ways that you deserve. I know we're up on time. I do appreciate everybody that's taken time to tune in. Please stay plugged in. Please stay involved. Continue to lift each other up continue to speak out against the things that we know harm us and the things that harm our neighbors, and then continue to build community always. Thank you again for tuning in to the Fierce Urgency of Now. This is Shaun McMillan, and we will see you guys next time. Y'all have a good one.